What's good, y'all? It's your boy BioSpider 3.0, keeping the action going with the SH Figuarts, Padawan, Obi-Wan Kenobi from the Phantom Menace. Alright, so we saw this guy in the first look in the packaging, got a brief glimpse at the accessories, and now we're going to get into this full review. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and put him on the rotating display stand for a nice 360 look. And you'll see all his accessories are laid out behind him. So let's go ahead and get those rotating now. Alright, so there is your 360 at Padawan Obi-Wan, and of course he looks fantastic. SHF really killed it on this release. Hasbro of course has their version in the Black Series, which is also a very good looking figure. The face scanning technology that they were able to use came out really good, and I think that both releases have a very good likeness to Ewan McGregor. But for me personally, I had to go with the SH Figuarts version just because obviously it comes with more, and because the overall quality is obviously better, being an import company, and the price reflects that. So this guy is absolutely fantastic. I had some fun posing him around. Had him fighting Darth Maul, my new SHF Darth Maul, and yeah, they look so superb. Like just fighting together, and you're gonna be able to get a lot of fun scenes out of these figures. So yeah, we'll get him coming around one more time and pull him in for a closer look before we get to accessories. All right, so stop him here. Boom. All right, let's move this out the way real quick. I'm bringing him in for a closer look. I do have the saber in his hand, as you can see. And yeah, man, just fantastic details all around. So here, let me take his, let's see. I'm trying to pose him in a way where I can have the lightsaber not hit the camera or anything. But yeah, I'll just have him holding the saber up like this for now. But yeah, as you can see, as we pull him in closer, excellent details all around. You can see like on the on his tunic, this is a soft overlay piece, very similar to Darth Maul, that connects from front to back, so it's actually soft in the back. Darth Maul's he actually had like hard plastic back here, but this is all kind of like a softer sculpted plastic right here, as well as like the bottom part of the tunic. But yeah, very nice details. You can see like the texture sculpted into that part of the tunic is very nicely done. There's some nice cuts down here for you to be able to get these out of the way if you want him kicking high. And I will tell you right now, his kicking range is better than Darth Maul's, which is kind of ironic because they both were pretty agile and acrobatic. They both were doing a lot of flips, but it's kind of surprising that Darth Maul didn't have better range for his legs and whatnot. But yeah, just look at those fine details, like even in the belt. You got these nice gold pieces that kind of remind me of like shell cases. I'm not really sure what those are for, but yeah, the nice brown and silver paint for that belt piece. And this is kind of like a separate piece. It is kind of like floaty, so it does move around. And if you were to like look in there from the top view, it does have like a little bit of a gap, and you can kind of see like some of the engineering. I think it's like a ball peg in there for like his diaphragm and whatnot. But yeah, we'll get to that in play and display. But yeah, just so you can get like a nice front to back view of him and all the details. Very nice wrinkling in the pants, the lighter brown, and then the darker brown paint for his boots. Very nicely done, man, all around. Excellent Obi-Wan figure. So let's go ahead and put him to the side real quick, and we'll take a closer look at the accessories he comes with. So first up, we have his alternate head, which is very similar to the one that is on him currently. This one is just like a little bit more of, I guess, like a stoic face. Mouth, his lips are like pressed together. He's got like just like a very stoic, kind of like emotionless face. But the detail on this is very nice. You got the Padawan braid there with the little kind of like bronze clip going around his hair. And just the overall paint for the face is very nice. The likeness, again, is absolutely amazing. Nice paint for the eyes, the eyebrows, the lips, the nose, everything looks good. He's got a little bit of that gold thing, gold paint going on in his hair, which I know some people don't prefer. SHF tended to do that a lot back in the day with some of the characters. Like I think like their Luke Skywalker figure has like a bunch of that gold paint in the hair. which might not be ideal for some people, but I personally don't mind it on this Obi-Wan. I think it looks pretty good. It's not like too overdone, like it's not like overwhelming, and there is like some really nice sculpt and paintwork in the hair to give it like some depth. So that is very nice. So you got that alternate head there. You've got two splayed out, maybe like force using hands, kind of open palm. Looks like, yeah, he would definitely use these to use the force. Very nicely detailed. So obviously one for each side. But yeah, nice detail and paintwork on these as well. Looks very nice. Nice skin tone, nice details for like the fingers, fingernails, and whatnot. Yeah, there you go. Back that up. So yeah, very nice paintwork on both of those. You get this kind of peace sign looking hand, which is very iconic for his. Actually, this is not the peace sign. My bad. This is like another maybe like force wielding hand. So he's kind of like, he's got what, the ring finger and his pinky kind of like curling, and then the other two up. So yeah, this I would say is definitely like a force using hand. But yeah, again, very nice details and paintwork on that. So you get one like that, and then you get this one. This is the peace sign kind of bunny ears hand. This is his Form 3 Sarisu stance hand that he always does. So like when he's got his lightsaber over his head, and like his other hand is pointing out like this, as we saw on the back of the package that he came with. Yeah, that is for that Form 3 Sarisu stance. Very iconic stance for Obi-Wan, who is the master of Sarisu. So yeah, very nice paintwork on that hand as well. And then you get two fist hands as well, and they are very nicely painted and sculpted also. So yeah, these are not gripping hands, obviously. These are fully clenched fist hands, so nothing is supposed to go into these, but yeah, very nice. And then, of course, you have his unignited version of the saber hilt. And I love this saber hilt, man. This is like one of the most iconic saber hilts of all time. It's like one of the most easily recognizable. Yeah, I've always loved this hilt design. Back as a kid watching The Phantom Menace, I always kind of fixated on his hilt. I just love the design of it. This classic pommel piece down here that kind of looks like a gear, and then you have like the nice red ignition button right there up top by the emitter, and like the silver and black paint is immaculate, especially for the scale too. You got like the rib section down here where he grips it, and the nice like even like silver paint going through like the middle for like the lines. Very, very nicely done, man. SHF is just killing it with the paint on these at such a small scale, and the sculpt as well, all the details. There is like a little bit of silver paint missing from like the bottom, like the gear section around the pommel, but I could easily touch that up with some Vallejo silver paint. All right, so that should be pretty easy to touch up. But yeah, I got this guy at Frankenstein's, by the way, and the guy who gave it to me, I think he mentioned that it might be open, so he did like let me look at it and check it out before I bought it, which was really cool. So shout outs to him. But yeah, he's a really cool seller, so he usually will let you do that if like an item has already been opened. He'll let you like inspect it before you make your buying decision, which is really dope. And I think I got him for like around like 90. Pretty sure I paid with cards, so there's probably like a little bit of tax added onto that. But yeah, like maybe like 90. Yeah, so like afterwards, like with tax, it might have been closer to like 100. But I was happy to get it. Like seeing this guy in person, I was gonna get him online, but seeing him in person at Frankenstein's was just such a thrill for me. I was like, I had to get him. He was calling me, and I already had plans to pick him up, so I was like, why not? But yeah, there you go. And then last accessory he comes with is the Qui-Gon saber, because as I mentioned before, everybody that's seen The Phantom Menace knows how that fight between him and Darth Maul ends. And so right out the package, you have this very nice Qui-Gon saber, black and silver paint, looks very movie accurate. Not as interesting as Obi-Wan's, I would say, but still very nice. And then this green blade is actually like not supposed to be removed. I thought maybe it was, but yeah, it's non-removable. So it's just meant to stay in there. And if I can get some focus back on it, okay, there we go. But it is in a nice green translucent color for the blade. And yeah, the blades are like nice and thick, both on his and Obi-Wan's. And yeah, it's pretty cool. It seemed a little bit bent out of the packaging. I don't know how well it's gonna show up on camera. It does seem a little bit bent to me. If I move this out the way. But yeah, that was just something to know. Not too bad. But yeah, I mean, if you get the Qui-Gon figure, obviously, you don't have to really like worry about that because he comes with his own saber. But this is a nice extra piece to have in case you want to recreate again that last battle scene. So there you go. But getting into play and display, let me go ahead and take the lightsaber out of his hands real quick. And while we're on the topic of the lightsaber, I just want to let you guys know very quick before we get into articulation. Pull this out of his hands. Come on out of there. All right, there we go. So out of the package, he already came with his gripping hands on. But I just want to show you guys for his saber, the easiest way to get it into his gripping hands is to kind of disassemble the bottom part of the hilt. So the pommel, that little gear piece at the end, it is a very tiny piece, so be very careful. This will be a nightmare to lose, man. This is such a small piece. But what you want to do is kind of pull that little gear piece off from the bottom. You can see there's a little peg right there at the bottom of the hilt. You want to get that gear piece off and then slide, the rest of the hilt through his gripping hand, and then kind of plug that gear piece back in once you've got it in his hands. So that's the easiest way to get them, get the hilt to basically slide down into the gripping hands. And it might take a little bit to, get it in there, but once it's in, it looks fantastic. But again, obviously be very careful not to lose that gear piece because it is super tiny, as you saw. So yeah, it would be a nightmare to lose that piece. So be very careful when changing that out. And yeah, it is keyed into the hilt a certain way. So like you have to kind of like match up the shape, but it's not too hard to get it back in there. And again, very nice blue translucent color for the blade. But anyways, enough about the saber. Back to Obi-Wan. Again, some very, very awesome articulation. This is an SHF, so we would expect premium quality. So for play and display, when it comes to his head, he can look up about that far, which is actually a little better than Maul, so that was kind of nice. He can look up pretty nicely there. All right, he can look down pretty nice as well, and the neck is kind of like a movable piece, just like with Maul, so it does move around with the head. And that does help you get like a lot of extra range. You can see it gets a little gappy, the neck piece, like from the rest of his body underneath. It is kind of like, depending on how you move it, you might see like some gaps in there, but it's not too bad. And then of course you can rotate the head 360 all the way around. You get some nice nuanced leaning in there. A lot of wiggle room on the ball peg, so you should be able to hit all different types of expressive poses with the head. And again, very nice Padawan braid there. And he's got his little ponytail in the back, so very nicely done there, SHF. For the arms, you can rotate. You can kind of go a full 360, but when I did it earlier, the arm kind of popped off because as you move it, it kind of runs into this soft overlay piece that goes over his shoulder for the tunic. So I wouldn't maybe recommend like windmilling his arm all the way around, but I think theoretically you could do it. It definitely has the range for it, but this kind of gets in the way, which might pop the arm out. So just be aware of that. And inside the shoulder joint, there is kind of like a concave cap. And so like when the arm pops out, you have like a ball peg that kind of just, slides back into that concave cap and it holds it in there very nicely. The joints feel very good on this figure, by the way. Nice and tight, but still fluid. So again, you have like a nice cut for like a bicep swivel up here at the top. So you can rotate from there. Very nice. You got a double jointed elbow, which gets him better than 90 degrees. So that looks good. Nice range there, about the same as Maul, maybe a little more. And then you have the wrists are on, I believe, ball pegs, just like Maul. So yeah, ball and like hinge type of joints. So you can get like a little bit of like vertical motion out of them, definitely horizontal, and depending on how you like orient the peg and get the hinge facing. But yeah, you can go up and down and side to side. So a lot of range there, which is awesome. For the diaphragm, or the diaphragm joint for the torso, very similar to Maul, is basically down here at the waist. So you're gonna get a little bit of crunching going forward like that. Not too bad. Leaning backwards, only a little bit. So yeah, definitely not the best going back, but it's all right. You get a little bit of leaning side to side as well. So you can wiggle a little bit side to side, and he does have wiggle room with that ball peg. Again, this is kind of like a softer piece, so it does move around and get out of the way. Let's see, and then you have these cuts. So for the legs, oh, I forgot to mention, he does also have kind of like a butterfly joint, so he is able to get the arms forward in front of his body very nicely for like saber poses, as well as back. You get better range than Darth Maul because, again, this is a softer piece, and as you extend his arm back, you can get his shoulders coming back pretty far. So that is actually pretty nice because this flexes and kind of gets out the way, so that's good. And then yeah, for the legs, you can kick up very nicely, and it feels a lot better when you kick up compared to Maul, because like with Maul, it felt like his torso was gonna disassemble from the rest of him. But with Obi-Wan, you can actually get a nice high kick, better than 90 degrees, and it doesn't feel like it's gonna separate or anything. You can kick back decently well, about the same as maybe a Marvel Legends. So it does kind of go at an angle also, so be aware of that. No thigh swivel. He can swivel a little bit from that top joint, like where it connects to the hip. He can only swivel a little bit side to side. He's got double jointed knees that come up to basically the lower back for the foot. So that's some pretty nice range there. And you have like a little bit of a swivel even at the knee, just a little bit side to side. His foot can only hinge down so much because it runs into like the sculpt of the strap at the back of his boot. So just be aware of that. It doesn't go back all that far. Same thing going up, kind of runs into that strap again. So not the best, but he does have a toe joint, which is going to give him a little bit of extra stability on the shelf. So that's cool. He's got a nice ankle swivel in there. The feet do rotate side to side. I forgot to mention on Darth Maul that the feet do rotate side to side on that ball and hinge joint. So that's nice. And then as far as out to the side, he's able to get almost a splits, which is really nice. You can definitely go out, out to the side quite a bit, and it looks pretty good while he does it. So there is that. And I think that's pretty much it as far as like the range on him. Articulation points, I think we covered, everything. So yeah, he's got some really nice articulation overall. You should be able to get him into some very nice dynamic Jedi displays. And like I said, when you pose him fighting against Darth Maul, it's gonna look absolutely awesome. I already put him on my shelf in a pretty cool pose against Maul, so I had a lot of fun doing that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We'll take one last close look at him, and then we'll get into size comparisons. So yeah, there you have it. Again, very, very nicely detailed all around on the figure. Very nice matte finish for the tunic, and pretty much like the entire paint job. I would say maybe the shiniest parts on him would be the boots, and even those aren't really shiny. But yeah, they are done in a very nice paint. And the wrinkles, the sculpted wrinkles, everything. I mean, it just looks fantastic. Very realistic look and feel to the figure. Definitely feels very premium in hand. And yeah, the quality just speaks for itself, man. I think this is an absolute must if you are a Obi-Wan fan. Gotta have the Padawan Obi-Wan. And if you can't get this one, again, the Black Series one is a very nice, substitute for that. It does its thing very well. And, you won't have to worry about changing out that tiny pommel piece to put the blade in his hands, because obviously Hasbro doesn't do anything like that. The plastic just, is a little bit softer on theirs, and it conforms to the hilt going in a lot easier. But yeah. Other than that, I don't really have any real complaints with this guy. Just the fact that, you could very easily lose that tiny gear piece on the bottom of his hilt. That's probably one of the biggest issues. But other than that, no real issues with this guy. I absolutely love him. Very, very happy to have him. Now all I need is that re-released SHF Qui-Gon Jinn, and then I will be able to recreate Duel of the Fates on my shelf. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Here is his saber again. Just look at the beautiful paint on that hilt, man. Very, very nice. Oh, I think I did forget to show off his yeah, he does also come with this alternate again deignited hilt. I think I showed that at the beginning. Again, a little bit of like silver paint missing around the gear, but I can easily touch that up. It does have this nice peg, and so you can plug that in. He has a hole right here on his belt, right by this like little pouch thing, and that is where you plug in his deignited hilt, like so. All right, and there you have it. And that's how he looks displayed with his lightsaber hanging from his side. Really, really awesome. I love that they have lightsaber storage. And also the blade on his lightsaber, the United one, this one is not removable. So just so you know that, that's why they gave you two versions of, one ignited, one unignited. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump into size comparisons, all right? So let's do it. So for those SHF comparisons, obviously first up we have Mr. Darth Maul himself. So here is Darth Maul, Ray Park, and Ewan McGregor in 6-inch form. All right. So hopefully y'all can see him. But yeah, there he is with Darth Maul. And then for another SHF, here is the Masked Rider blade from Kamen Rider. Slide this back just a bit so y'all can see that. And yeah, they scale very, very well. They're all around the exact same height, so that looks perfect. All right, moving them aside. For some Mafex comparisons, or sorry, I take that back. For some more SHF, we have the SHF Battle Damage Mark 6 and the green Mighty Morphin Ranger or Dragon Ranger. And they scale very well with him as well. SHF stuff tends to go pretty well with other SHF stuff, so there you go. And these are all like fairly older releases, so they should be pretty well in scale with one another. For Black Series comparisons, we've got the third sister Reva here. All right, so your Black Series Reva from Kenobi. And we have, of course, the Count Dooku, Christopher Lee. All right, so I'm just going to turn him a little more this way. And yeah, very nice size comparisons. He's got quite a bit of height, which I think is appropriate because Count Dooku definitely was taller than Obi-Wan, about like a 6'5" guy, so there you go. For some more Black Series, we have the Deluxe Cobb Vanth right here, and a Phase 1 Clone Trooper on his other side. So there you go. I think those all look pretty good. Yeah, I think he scales pretty well. That definitely checks out for me. So there you go. For some Lightning Collection, we have the Silver Ranger from In Space. And let's see, we have the Dino Thunder Yellow Ranger, Lightning Collection as well. So there you go. Yeah, I think that definitely works. That works out. So there you go. And then for Mafex, we have the Mafex Comic Daredevil and the Spider-Man 2, Amazing Spider-Man 2, Andrew Garfield, the No Way Home release. And there you go. There's the three of them together. And I think that looks beautiful. So there you go. For another Mafex, here is Miles Morales from Into the Spider-Verse. For another Black Series, here is the Duels End Darth Vader. I can get him to stand up. All right, there we go. And you can see he's got an appropriate height over Kenobi there, so I think that looks pretty good. And Miles is definitely a little bit shorter, appropriately so. Here we have the Odious figure from Unparalleled Universe. We've got Odious the Living Curse, and we'll bring in a Toy Biz Blade, movie Blade, Wesley Snipes. All right, so there's the three of them. I think that works out very, very nicely. Looking good. Marvel Legends, we've got a Maximum Spider-Man and a Netflix Luke Cage. And you can see they definitely have a little bit of height on Obi-Wan, but yeah, I think that works out pretty well. Finishing it off, for McFarlane Toys, we have a Raven. We got a Raven from McFarlane Toys here. Come on, stand up. She was standing earlier. Come on. Stand. Now she's, all of a sudden, okay, there we go. And then we have for Black Series, this is the Padawan Station Obi-Wan. And I think that works out very well. They're almost the same height. He's just a little bit taller, so there you go. But yeah, and then finishing it off, one more Black Series, we have Dark Ray right here. Darth Ray, and then we have Mesogog from Lightning Collection. So yeah, that's it. That's going to be the end of my review, guys. Hope that was enough size comparisons for y'all. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new, be sure to subscribe because I am going to be doing a giveaway very soon on the channel. That'll probably be my next video up. So be sure you are subscribed. I'll talk more about that, have more details about it. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what do you think about the figure. Do you have it? Let me know all of that below. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.